What's up, heathens? How ya doing? We're going to be going over a brand new argument for the existence of God. Maybe. I mean, come on, we got to take this with a grain of salt.
Those who are atheists and those for everyone out there who does not believe that any God exists or does not believe that God exists, I have a very direct question, and this is an argument that no atheist has ever heard before.
So this is Cornelius. Cornelius has over 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I don't know why. For one thing, he's a car theist. Cornelius thinks that he has like a good argument for God's existence. I don't think that he does, and I want to get y'all's input on it because to me, this just seemed like a really stupid repackaged argument, but we'll see what he's got.
All right, everybody out there, good morning. Here is Cornelius Jones, and I am coming with you guys. Coming to you guys today with a video, and with this video, not going to be a long video at all, but I do want to have a topical discussion with those who are atheists and those for everyone out there who does not believe that any God exists or does not believe that God exists. I have a very direct question, and this is an argument that no atheist has ever heard before.
Oh, well, my butthole is puckered there, Cornelius. I can't wait for you to get to the fucking point.
You know, if you look at YouTube, you'll find, there's plenty of discussions, debates surrounding this question concerning the existence of God. And one of the main things of topicals, one of the topics regarding this situation is talking about the evidence, right? Many atheists, well, all atheists, they do not believe that there is a sufficient amount of evidence, or any evidence at all for that matter, that supports the existence of God.
Yes, I would say this is true. I don't feel like the current evidence that's been presented by theists actually support their conclusion that God exists. So I'm glad that we're starting off on a really good foot here, in that he's not trying to misrepresent the atheist position in general, but he understands that we're just simply not convinced by this evidence, and we don't think that it's substantial enough to prove that a God exists.
Christians, on the contrary, they do believe that there's evidence that supports the existence of God. There are scientists out there who are Christians who have studied that evidence. However, atheists would disagree. Okay, so there's a big debate going back and forth about whether or not there's sufficient evidence and all of that. Well, I'd like to further the discussion by even asking this question. When it comes to creation, do you even need evidence? Do you need evidence to know that whether or not something was created?
Yes, you do need evidence. The evidence could be an unnatural arrangement, of matter. Like, for instance, an unnatural arrangement. These eyeglasses right here that I wear on occasion, most of the time, just not on camera. This, I would say, is an unnatural arrangement of matter. Pretty much anything that is actually designed and man-made is an unnatural arrangement of matter. So I would think that you would need some kind of evidence to suggest that something was designed.
And of course, atheists would say, absolutely, it is foolish to believe in the existence of something blindly without having evidence, or without looking into the evidence first. Well, I would like to ask a very, very simple question, because I would like, with this video, my intention is to challenge the idea that you need evidence to believe in something.
You're going to challenge the idea that you need evidence in order to believe in something. I mean, I don't think that it ultimately prevents somebody from believing in something if they don't have evidence. You got gullible motherfuckers out there all the time. I mean, you're a pretty good example of one of the gullible motherfuckers, in my opinion. I don't think everybody needs evidence in order to believe in something, but I think that it's a good idea to have evidence for something, because then you can support the claim that you're making. That's the entire point, that you can be assured outside of your own ideas and beliefs that this thing is actually real.
Okay. That's what I want to challenge. I want to challenge the idea, do you really need evidence, or is it possible to believe or know, and specifically know, that something was created without looking at the evidence first?
I think that you can claim to know, but whether or not you actually know, I don't really think that you can without any kind of indication that it was. I mean, you could just go around claiming that you know a whole bunch of shit. Like, I know aliens love to probe humans in the asshole. Not because that I've got evidence for it or anything, but because I know that it's that way. To say that you know it means that you have some kind of knowledge about something. And I mean, if you just believe it without any kind of knowledge, you can't really know something.
Okay. So can you know it first and then look at the evidence? Is that possible? Is that reasonable? Well, I'd like to show you an argument with this question, with this illustration. Consider this. In our lifetime, if you were born in the, mid 80s, 90s, maybe at the latest, I'm 40 years old. So if you're 40 or older, then 100% sure, or maybe a little younger, you remember a time on our planet where there was no internet. The internet is one of the most life-changing inventions that totally revolutionized the way we live as human beings on this planet.
I do agree with that. The internet was a very big achievement. And really there's no reason for people to not understand like scientific ideas or theories or anything really when you just can Google shit. I get that maybe you don't have the comprehension skills that it takes to understand a scientific theory. That's why you ask questions of people that do understand it, so that you can understand it better. And I think that any theist that's out there, I would hope that they would ask questions. Because of the fact that we have the internet, you have more access to be able to understand these complex ideas. For some reason, these people just don't want to.
But there was a time where the internet did not exist. There was a time where you had no prior knowledge, you had no prior experience with the internet. Okay? So if you are an atheist, I want you to go back to that time, if you can, to the very first time you ever used the internet.
I really don't think that you got to be 40 years old. I mean, I'm 35 and I remember a time when the internet wasn't really publicly accessible.
If you can remember that far. Okay? Now, you did not have prior knowledge about the internet the first time you used it. You did not have any prior anything. Never experienced the internet before. However, from the first moment you used the internet.
Oh, fuck, the aliens are coming. They're coming to get us. I'm having flashbacks. Don't put that in my ass. Don't put it in my ass.
That the internet was the product of a mind.
This would be the whole unnatural arrangement of matter. The internet is kind of an ambiguous type of term, right? I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about here when he says the internet. Do you mean the structure of the internet like as we know it to be now? Of course we knew that that was man-made. Of course we knew that that was designed, implemented, and constructed by humans.
Here it is, General. The internet.
It's an unnatural arrangement of matter. This all goes back to the what's called teleological argument, or the argument from design. Basically, it looks designed, other things look designed, therefore everything was designed. But the problem is that we don't have any natural processes that could explain the internet. The internet was definitely man-made, which is different than like a fucking cow or your dog or your asshole cat. Those things are different. We have natural explanations for biological entities in this world. We have natural explanations for how mountains form. We have natural explanations for all of these things. Don't have a natural explanation for the internet. We don't have natural explanations for that don't require human interference.
You knew that its creation was, well, you knew it was a creation is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, is there sufficient evidence that the internet had a creator? Absolutely.
Yes, there is. It's obvious that it was created because it's an unnatural arrangement of matter.
I mean, we don't even have to get into that. But the point is, even though, yes, there was sufficient evidence, but did you need the evidence to know the internet had a creator?
See, here's the thing. If we have a natural explanation that can account for it, then it's not designed. But since there's no natural explanations for the internet or computers or anything like that, then it's obviously designed. So yes, you still need evidence to logic your way into figuring out whether or not something is designed. You don't just come right out the door and it's like,
Well, oh shit, that definitely looks designed right there. That one definitely has a creator behind it. Look at that motherfucking mouth right there. Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh yeah, definitely a pissed off ex-wife definitely did that one.
If I asked you right now, who created the internet? Who initially created the internet? I'm willing to bet that most of you would not be able to tell me.
We'll see, who created the internet?
Al Gore.
I took the initiative in creating the internet.
The inventors are listed as Robert E. Kahn and Vint Cerf. It originally started out as ARPANET. Let's see, the first workable prototype of the internet came in the late 1960s with the creation of ARPANET, or the Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, originally funded by the U.S. Defense Department. ARPANET used packet switching to allow multiple computers to communicate on a single network. It doesn't matter if I know who created the internet or how the internet came to be. The fact of the matter is that we can recognize unnatural arrangements of matter. That's our pattern-seeking nature, and that's why for some people it's so hard not to get past look of design, like of the earth and everything. It's not designed. When you take a deeper look at the earth, it's definitely not designed.
Now, you could easily figure that out. You could do some research. But if you're honest, when you first used the internet, you did not do an extensive research or study on who created it.
Don't need to. There's no point in doing deep research into who created the internet in order to use the internet.
All you knew inside your heart, all you knew in your mind was that it was created by someone. But you may not have known who.
Well, right, but I would say that that's just the pattern-seeking nature of our minds. We see this unnatural pattern and we automatically associate that with previous experiences of things that are made, like a tricycle. We don't have any natural processes that explain it. Therefore, it was definitely man-made, at least as far as we can tell. Now, we have definite proof that it was man-made. Like, let's take a flower, for instance. We have natural processes that explain why a flower looks the way that it does, or that grows where it does, or operates in the fashion that it does. We have natural processes to explain this, so therefore we don't automatically assume a creator is needed. Just because you think that something is designed does not necessarily mean that it is designed. That's why evidence is needed.
Now, you can't say that you had prior knowledge that helped you understand that the internet was created, because the first time you used it, you had no prior knowledge.
I disagree. You did have prior knowledge because your prior experiences with these unnatural arrangements of matter indicates that it was most likely made by a person or made by humans. That would be our prior experiences informing our current experience. You saying you don't have evidence because you've never used it before, that's just a bullshit argument, because you definitely have had experiences in the past that would indicate that it definitely was designed by a person.
And in your lifetime, there was a time where the internet did not exist. So you can't say prior knowledge.
Yes, I can, because your prior experiences and all that kind of shit.
Prior knowledge does not count in this situation because you had none.
Still hard disagree here, bud.
You knew that the internet had a creator.
Well, yes, but again, due to our prior experiences.
My question is, why?
Because I've already explained it.
Why did you know that? Before you looked at any evidence, before you did any research on who the creator was, without any prior knowledge with this thing or any prior experience, you automatically knew that this invention had a creator.
Well, yes, but I would also say that this is what really factors into creationists that use the teleological argument, is because our prior experiences informing us about unnatural arrangements of matter. Not everything that looks designed is designed. So you would need more evidence to say that it definitely was designed. See, this is the huge disconnect that creationists have created. They bridge this gap unnecessarily without any kind of evidence to bridge this gap.
You knew that it was the product of a mind, as opposed to something similar to like maybe comparable to natural selection, where somehow, electrons, molecules just happen to form together in some amazing way appropriately, and the internet formed all by itself.
Do you know what natural selection is? Imagine a leaf with like 4 bugs on it. And one of the bugs is a light green, another bug is a dark green, and then you got one bug that's blue and one bug that's red. The 2 bugs that are red and blue that don't blend in are eaten, and the other bugs survive, and they pass on their traits, and so their lineages have this green color, and eventually this, red and blue colors are weeded out, and that is how a new subspecies or a species of this bug emerges. And that's natural selection. What you just described is not natural selection.
That's not the case with the internet.
Yes, but I would say that it is the case with the planet, the universe in general, animals on this planet, organisms in general on this planet.
Now, of course, again, we know there is evidence for the internet. It doesn't matter. My point is not that whether or not there's evidence for the internet. My point is you did not need the evidence to know the internet had a creator.
Well, I mean, the evidence was already inherent to your own experience. This is something that's kind of common in some sci-fi stuff, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In the movie, the alien, when he first comes to Earth, he thinks that the cars were the dominant creatures on the Earth. This is an instance of your prior experience informing you on what you might think is designed or created or just naturally occurring.
The first time you used it, from that instant, you knew in your heart some person created it. It is the product of a mind. Now, if you tell me that the reason why you know the internet has a creator is because of evidence, you're not being honest. You're not being honest. You did not do an extensive research on who created the internet the first time you used it. And if you did, okay, well, you're one of the few. Okay? First time you used the internet, you used it, and you knew it was the product of a mind. You knew that innately in your heart. You knew that.
Why does he think that he knows me better than I know myself? You don't know me.
Again, the question's why. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are atheists, I am showing you one example that I don't think you can deny.
But I fucking denied it this entire time there, Cornelius.
You used something, you had experience with something that before that day you had no prior understanding or knowledge, and you knew it had a creator without looking at the evidence, before you ever looked at any evidence. My question, again, is why? Why were you able to know that? Why? That's what I'd like you to answer.
Already answered? I don't know. Do you got another point to make?
Why do you think you were able to know or reason in your heart that someone created the internet before you looked at any evidence? That's the question. And I'm going to leave it at that. If you would like to have discussions back and forth with me on this topic, I would love and appreciate what you have to say. We'll go back and forth a little bit. I would really be curious to know your thoughts on this. How is it that you're able to believe that something had a creator when you had no prior experience with it and you did not look at any evidence. The evidence was real, but you didn't look at it.
Apparently, he's just stuck on repeat right now. He's like a broken record. I don't know why. But I feel like the point that he's getting to here is that we all can recognize things that are designed by a creator. Therefore, if we see something in nature that looks designed by a creator, it was designed by a creator. The problem with this is that it neglects the fact that not everything that looks designed is designed. Sometimes you'll get creationists or Christians in general that will move the goalposts and push God further into the gaps of our knowledge.
God's the one that created the natural order of the universe, so therefore God still created it, motherfucker. What you gotta say about that? Motherfucker.
I didn't really spit. It's fine. There's nothing in the floor.
You didn't need it. Why? That's my question. That's my argument. I don't think you need evidence to look at something, experience something, and know innately in your heart that it is the product of an intelligent mind. Now, who the creator was is irrelevant. We're not going to get into that. Not getting into that.
You see, and I think that the creator that you're talking about is very relevant. Everybody has a different version of their creator. To suggest that nature points to your particular version of God seems to be a really big stretch. That particular question is a lot more interesting than your fucking internet facepalm-worthy, goddamn cancerous argument.
First step. Is there a creator? For the internet? Of course it was. You knew it. Didn't need evidence for that.
Is there a creator of the internet? Got him! Got him!
You knew it. Didn't need evidence for that. So, if you didn't need evidence for the computer, does that mean that can you know that something has a creator before you look at evidence? Well, if you didn't need evidence for the computer, I think the answer is yes. You don't need evidence to know innately in your heart that something is a creation. Again, let's stick on the internet. Why? Why did you know that? How? How did you know the internet was a product of a mind before you looked at evidence?
I mean, he spent this last 3 minutes just repeating the exact same shit the entire time. But anyways, I gotta head on out of here, guys. It was awesome seeing everybody today. Keep a watch on the community tab, on the stories here on YouTube, on Twitter. Just stay aware of me in all of the places because, of course, I'm the most important thing on this fucking platform, by the way.
Oh my God. You need to turn the camera off. Tell your boss I said you could go home.
Yep, that should be enough. Tell your boss that Casey said go the fuck home. I'll see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.